Hi there, my name's Alice and I've been living in Japan for about 3 months now. There's a lot of things here that have surprised me and are a lot different than how I originally thought they would be when I still lived in America. And one of them that's becoming more and more important to me as time is going by is actually dating life in Japan. If you spend any extended period of time here and you were originally single, the chances are that you're going to have some sort of dating encounter while you're here are pretty good if you're a foreigner. Boy or girl, it doesn't really matter. One thing that was really interesting to me was the Kokuhaku, the love confession, that happens at the very beginning of your relationship. And I actually ended up talking to my boyfriend about this for about 2 hours with some friends of mine who are American and just trying to figure out like what it's about, everything that it goes with, and I figured I'd try to give you some of my advice that I had to learn the hard way. First of all, Japanese relationships between two Japanese people always start with a kokuhaku. You generally will do like group dates or hanging out with a group or maybe even one-on-one before a few times before this happens, but your relationship does not technically start until a kokuhaku happens. And the girl can do it, the boy can do it, it doesn't matter. More often than not, the boy does it though, because girls aren't as forward here at all, actually. Actually, the whole dating thing is really almost passive-aggressive. But the chances are that if you're dating a Japanese person, they probably know something about foreign culture, and they probably like foreigners if they want to date you. My boyfriend is Japanese, and he's fairly Americanized. He definitely knows enough about the culture where things that I do don't really surprise him. But our relationship did not start like a Japanese relationship. This is where it gets tricky. The line between a date and hanging out is extremely weird here. Our first date, neither of us knew if it was a date or not. And a mutual friend like texted us and is like, "Are you on a date?" And we looked at each other and we're like, "I don't know, are we on a date?" So it kind of took the nudge from that friend to be like, is this a date or not? So you're both kind of in the dark unless you both decide that it's a date. One of you could think that it's hanging out, one of you could think that it's a date, and you couldn't really, I guess, draw the line very easily. For our first date, we went to a kisaten and to dinner. It was actually a manga kisaten, so it was like, it had like different cubbies, and you would get like a TV and a computer and like a couch, because we got a 2-person little cubby, and you can play video games, you can read manga. It was unlimited drink bar and soft serve, which was awesome for me because I love soft serve. But by the way, be careful. If you live in Japan long enough, you'll start calling ice cream softo cream. You sound stupid to your American friends, just putting that out there. So the first date, neither of us quite knew what was going on. Like he would like grab my hand or be really close but not touching. Like the physical boundaries were really clear, and that's true with a lot of Japanese people, but there are also exceptions. College students are more likely to be more touchy-feely than adults are. I've never had a random adult touch me. Random college students all the time just come up and touch you. I don't know why, but they do it. So it depends what stage in life you are, really, as to whether or not you can get away with physical touch on the first date. You might want to just cool your jets and just maybe pat on the shoulder is the limit until a kokuhaku happens. Holding hands is also like a big deal here. So usually that doesn't happen unless you're a couple too. Our relationship started out with a misunderstanding, actually. He asked me what kind of man I like, and I told him, and then I'm like, oh, actually, you're my type. And then I was like, what kind of girl do you like? And he started listing off attributes that I was like, wait a second, I have all that and a bag of chips. So, and then he said, oh, actually, you're my type too. And we were looking through a menu at the Kisa-ten trying to decide if we wanted to eat there or go somewhere else. And he is silent for a few minutes, and then he looks at me and he's like, do you want to go out? And I'm like, yeah, sure! Let's go get udon or something, yeah! And then I'm like, wait. Oh, he wants to date! Okay, yeah! Yeah, sure! Let's date! Yay! So... it was the most awkward first date, and as soon as it was established that we were a dating couple, it went like a switch. Very touchy-feely. So it will depend on your Japanese person. Also, did not get a Kokuhaku for like a month into the relationship because he was too nervous. It's easier for Japanese people to say things in English than it is in Japanese for them. Another thing about dating is you might get I love you quicker in the relationship because it doesn't hold that gravity that it does to us. It was like a week in that I got an I love you, and I know that he it wasn't an American like, oh, I really love you type of I love you. Like, it wasn't like it's almost kind of awkward to just have to be like, wait, that's too soon. And the best way that I could explain it to him was it was the equivalent of aishiteru. And you don't say that in that early in a relationship in either culture. So he's like, oh, okay, I like you a lot. I'm like, we're good. But the Kokuhaku happens, and then your relationship starts. You're not dating, technically, before the Kokuhaku. And once that happens, you're a couple. And I was under the wrong impression that Japanese dating couples move slower than they do in America. I feel like they move faster. Because after the Kokuhaku, it is literally a switch. And a lot of Japanese girls, like, I was under the impression that Japanese girls were, like, really conservative and very ladylike and very reserved. And although some of them are, the average Japanese girl, after the Kokuhaku, like, 1-2 dates, you can sleep with her. Yep. Makes us American girls look bad if you're trying to be good. It's good news for you boys, though. Not every girl's like this, obviously. There are exceptions in every culture, and every girl is different, too. But there's not the religious stigma of sex before marriage in Japan because they're not Christian. So you won't find as many girls who are like, oh, I'm saving it for marriage and all of that. So it just depends on who you're with, I guess. The Kokuhaku itself it varies from person to person, but every single, like, I found this part really interesting. Relationships start with a Kokuhaku, but then there's also an end phrase for when you want to break up, like a set end phrase, where you thank the person for being with you, basically, and then you end it. And it's non-negotiable, it's just over. But the start phrase, like, usually it's something like, 私はあなたが大好きだよ。付き合ってください. It's basically what I get. And it basically just means like, hey, I like you, let's date. But there's no equivalent to like in Japanese. It's varying degrees of love. So tsuki means to love. Daisuki means to love also, just a greater variant of it. And then you have the top, which is aishiteru. And I've never heard this used, actually. Even with married couples, I know it's used, but I think it's used pretty rarely. Like, it has that much gravity it has the gravity that I love you should have, but it doesn't carry anymore in the English language. It's like, oh my god, I love this song. Oh my god, I love ramen. Like, it doesn't carry that meaning anymore in English. Where it's still, there's a separate phrase for that. Like, a man could refer to his wife and be like, "Watashi no okusan ga daisuki desu." And he could also say, "Ramen ga daisuki desu." He could love his wife and his ramen the same way. And they do love ramen here. Ramen's better here than it is in America. Like, a lot better. So I can't really blame him, actually. If you have any specific Kokuhaku questions, I'd love to hear them and help you out. I'm not even sure if this video is useful to you, but I just found it so interesting that I had to get my opinion out there, I guess. Dating in Japan's weird. There's a lot of things that are different here than there are in America, but hopefully with the more experience that I gain, the more I'll be able to share, and you can laugh at my mistakes. Like asking me out, wanted to go for ramen, but he wanted to be with me. It was a fair trade-off. I got ramen and a date. Alright. We'll be seeing you next time.